Hey, what's up guys? This is Church of Caboose, and for today's Destiny 2 video, we're going to talk about my initial thoughts and impressions of the new Season of Arrivals / Season 11 / season before the big fall expansion where stuff is supposed to go off the hook. And it should be a really good old time. Before we get too far into the video though, if you do enjoy the video, make sure you click the like button. And if you want to see more stuff by me, it'd be fantastic of all you human beings and guardians to smash the subscribe button and do me a big old favor. I would love it. It always puts a smile on my face. And finally, if you are needing a clan, I now have my own clan. It's called Vengeful Lunas, and I want to give a huge thank you to two admins in particular who really helped with setting this thing up and not making me look like too much of an idiot for how the Discord was set up. Big shout out to Crazy Corgi Queen, who happens to be my wife, and That's Vac. They both gave up lots of their personal time to help me out, and I really appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. Thank you all so much. So if you want a clan for Xbox, let us know down below, or just hop in my Church of Friends Discord and be like, hey, I want to be in Vengeful Lunas. Can you help? And we'll get you all hooked up. And if you're a clan that you have a handful of people, or you're just like, hey, we want to do a merger, let us know. We're looking at doing something like making a clan family, and that should be a fun thing to experience and go through with people together. Okay, so for this video, you might be thinking, Church, normally you do this kind of impression stuff the first couple of days. Why did you wait almost a week? Well, I've been finding usually after I did one of those videos in the first day or two, I would have a huge change of heart a couple days later and be like, shoot, I maybe should have waited. So this time, I made myself wait. I made myself do a lot of grinding to power up, and I made myself wait to experience the whole new dungeon, and I feel like that was required to give you guys the best impression of this season. So first things first, this season definitely started off with a better impression than Season of the Worthy did. Season of the Worthy, you were just kind of like, oh look, we're on a ship. Now we're not, and no one's talking about it. That's weird. Season of Arrivals, you're like, oh look, there's Rasputin. The darkness did something to Rasputin. That's kind of weird and a little bit freaky because, we just spent 3 months powering him up, so this must be a really, really big deal. And then you get to be like, oh no, Eris is in trouble, and save Eris and do some cool story stuff. And we get to see the pyramid in the directory and in location hovering over Io where the Traveler last touched. And I think that's just kind of a cool, like, ooh, something's coming. So this season definitely hits you off in a better place than Season of Worthy did. Now, as far as the whole, actual nitty-gritty with the season so far, we got some cool new things, such as we got that prismatic thing from the Drifter. It's this little deal. It's kind of like the bunkers from before, but you have one instead of 3 of them. You get some twisted energy by doing weekly bounties, and my understanding is, I think I saw some in the season rank as well, but I know for sure you get twisted energy from weekly bounties, and that's how you level up your prismatic engram decoder dealio. And then you get all these engrams, and you can be like, I want an edge focus thing, and so you're gonna get something like a bow or a sword, or it can be like, I want armor, but wait, once I have my season pass leveled up enough, I can get focus armor with discipline, insolence, whatever, and that'll really help you guys, all of us really, to fill out our armor sets with the kinds of stats that we are wanting. So speaking of loot, I was really, really quite pleased and surprised that we got 2 Destiny 1 reprisals in Destiny 2. First off, we got the Boltcaster, which is an arc sword from Destiny 1 that is now Temptation's Hook in Destiny 2. They both throw an arc energy, so you have a ranged sword attack. But thankfully in D1 it's not an exotic, so you can still use those exotics you were still looking forward to in your primary or energy slot. Then we've got the Dark Drinker Destiny 1 sword, which is a Void exotic sword, which is now the Falling Guillotine, which I think this thing looks awesome. The only way I can describe it, it's like an anime sword. It's huge, and I love it. When you do a heavy attack, you spin around in a circle, kind of like Link from the video game Zelda, or as perhaps maybe for other people know, from Super Smash Bros. And it's just really, really cool, and I love that sword a lot. In fact, that's what I have on this character right now in the gameplay. Then we've got the new loot from the dungeon. Now, I haven't gotten much loot to drop from the dungeon, which is kind of a whole other topic, but briefly, just Apparently, you can get rewards of reprised things like Widow's Bite Sniper Rifle from these different dungeon loot boxes, but you can also get the new loot as well. It's also worth pointing out that the new loot, at least for the Hunter armor, looks suspiciously similar to the Trials of the Nine armor, which kind of makes sense. I mean, this is a Trials of the Nine dungeon, but I was kind of hoping to have like vastly different armor, but perhaps my expectations were too high considering what we know is coming with the fall, and ultimately I am okay with that. This dungeon, it's real cool. The dungeon is definitely the highlight of my impressions and thoughts of this season. This thing is beautiful. It is so awesome, and I in fact intentionally kept out some of the more cooler, like showing different area parts out of this video. I just wanted to give some proof that I actually managed to get into the dungeon, although I can't prove that I was underpowered. But I did get in there, and so that's why I wanted to use the gameplay. And this dungeon's really cool. It's really beautiful. I think it's really well put together. If I had to give it any kind of critiques, it would be stop beating us over the head with light versus dark modes. We get it. Like, we don't have to have every single encounter minus one. There's one encounter that doesn't do much with modes, but the rest of them are all bank light and dark modes. And as I get more familiar with the with the dungeon, I will eventually put out a guide. Just for right now, I don't know all the parts well enough to do that, and I want to give you guys a full and complete guide instead of the half-assed one. So we're going to wait for now for the guide on this new dungeon. But overall, really like it. It's great. Whoever did the art for this definitely deserves the pay raise, and thank you, Bungie, for giving us this dungeon. It is worth noting this dungeon's only available for Season 11. When Season 12, next expansion, releases, it goes away. Bungie has said they plan on bringing it back just because of a lot of technical reasons, such as memory space. This dungeon's going to go away once the fall comes around, so get your kicks out of the dungeon. So there you go. There's kind of the new stuff. One last new thing would be that public event. It's definitely way better than Seraph Towers. However, if we're going to get into it, I don't think this season is going to be very fulfilling for very long. For reasons that we are going to get into now. So my impressions, there's not a whole lot new to do. You got the new dungeon, which is aspirational, so for many people you can't even feel like you can try the dungeon for quite a while. And then we have this new public event, which granted is better than the Seraph Towers, but that's the only two new things that we have. We have a handful of new loot, such as the swords that I mentioned earlier, as well as some other things like a False Promises auto rifle, and then there's a bow and fusion rifle, which the fusion rifle is like Arantil 2.0. But otherwise, most of the loot is just reprised. It's just got the new symbol for the season on it, which means that you would have it available till next year, summer of 2021. And that's about it. The grind to get to the power is virtually the same. I approached it slightly different this go around. I went through all the pinnacles and stuff on 2 characters. Then my last character, my Titan, I'm doing comp until my armor catches up to my weapons, and at which point I will go through pinnacles so that I can maximize the rewards for pinnacles instead of losing maybe some rewards to RNG as they drop as weapons. So that's kind of how I've been approaching this, and I should be able to hit 1050 this week. It's also worth noting we got a relatively large power jump. Our last pinnacle cap was 1010. Our new pinnacle cap is 1060. So you got a 50 leap to make. And I think you could reasonably in the first week, depending upon how much you love Destiny and how much time you have available, get to 1040 to 1050, especially because of your artifact. So you should be able to do the dungeon in the first week. But if we look at the roadmap, we're not really getting anything new. We're not getting like a hard mode dungeon or a prestige dungeon. We're not getting any kind of exotic weapon quest that we know of. As I'm looking at the the season roadmap on July 7th, we start Moments of Triumph. That tends to be replaying old raids or just having a bunch of triumphs automatically unlock because you've already done what is required. Then we have August 11th starts the Solstice of Heroes, and both those events end sometime in April. The Solstice of Heroes ends on September 8th. Moments of Triumph ends on September 22nd. So we have from now till about a month from now, really, not quite, almost a month, until we have anything new start. And that's not even like new, unless we get something like Destiny 1 where you get these new armor ornaments and whatever. It's just replaying old stuff just to get some triumphs done starting on July 7th, just under a month from now. It's more like 3 weeks. And then we've got Solstice of Heroes, which traditionally has been grinding out a ton of summer things. And so I'm just really worried that this season is going to just fall flat. We're going to get in like a month. People are going to see that there's 21 triumphs needed for the new title. And folks are like, I don't want to do that. And so then trying to do the public event's going to be a huge pain in the ass because no one's doing it, even though it's a lot easier. And it's just going to, I think it's going to go flat. But we'll have to find out. We never know. Bungie could be keeping stuff secret from us. They could be investing all their efforts into the fall. I don't know. It's also really weird and a bad first impression that the first week of Trials in the new season is canceled. Like, people weren't getting their flawless rewards, and then perhaps they canceled it after a friend of mine, or before a friend of mine had tried grabbing a passage, but he was trying to grab a passage, and he couldn't. So we originally thought, oh, the season must have got canceled because people couldn't actually pick up the passage, but Bungie is saying it's because folks weren't able to get their flawless rewards, so they just disabled Trials for the week. That is not a great sign. Our last season of The Worthy had lots and lots of issues with error bugs and having stuff go out half-baked and not working quite well, and we're already kind of starting with the first weekend of Trials in the same boat as we were in season of The Worthy. I really enjoy the season so far, not a bad way. I'm just really, I'm not sure how this thing's going to end. I think we're going to end all just as ticked off as you were first season of The Worthy, just hopefully less error codes. Alright guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you have opinions that you would like to share, concurring, dissenting, I don't care, comment them down below and we can talk and see what we think. Maybe you have some thoughts I hadn't thought about yet that might change some of my opinions one way or the other. Who knows? I try to always keep an open mind. If you want to, again, need a clan, check us out, Benchful Lunas. Request to join, odds are you'll get accepted. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.